Hello, Australia. This is the AIF radio reporter broadcasting from an Australian location in Palestine on the occasion of a divisional memorial parade in honor of fallen comrades. The divisional commander, Lieutenant General Sir Leslie Morshead, is now approaching the enormous parade ground, accompanied by General Alexander, Commander-in-Chief of the British forces in the Middle East. The whole spectacle is an inspiring one, as the members of the 9th Division, better known as the Rats of TOBRUK, are drawn up in magnificent formation. You may be able to hear the words of command. The parade is a mile wide and a battalion in depth. The men are looking magnificent, these men who have just come back from the Western Desert, victorious. The 20,000 men on the parade ground have just sloped arms like one man. Bayonets glinting in the sun. It's a glorious day here. Not a cloud in the sky. Just a nice breeze to blow out the unit flags. The band, or massed bands, are standing behind the two center battalions, awaiting the arrival of General Alexander. The general is now coming very, very close to the parade ground. Two lines of 4 mounted policemen ahead and behind. Quite a large concourse, about 10 or 12 staff cars, and everybody is on tiptoe with excitement. The spectacle here is truly magnificent, not only on the parade ground, but behind the main dais and all along both sides, and underneath the platform on which I'm standing at the moment. Right underneath me are many Australian nurses, very picturesque in their grey uniforms, red capes, white veils, and the silver stars on their shoulders. Right behind them are the VADs in the Middle East in their darker blue. Just to the left of that is the dais where General Alexander will speak later to the forces, and that speech we hope to give to you. To the left again are many distinguished visitors, some of whose names I will also give you later on. Stretching away half a mile along the parade ground, behind the unit flags, are members of headquarter companies. The Guards Battalion, better known as the Olds and Bolds. Theirs is the leading band in the 5 massed bands underneath Warrant Officer George Simpson. Now the General has just arrived, just stepped out of his car with Lieutenant General Sir Leslie Morshead. Cameras are clicking right and left. Movie cameras are showing all over the place. And everybody is standing up. They're now walking out onto the parade ground. And very shortly you will hear the General salute. General Morshead is leading out 2 other generals. Now I will leave it to the other microphone for you to get the band, if possible. The words of command are now being given. You know, there's terrific historical interest in today's parade, not only because our men have been here for nearly 3 years now, but for the fact that on this very ground, their fathers, in the Light Horse in the last war, fought for nearly 2 years. We're not very far from Gaza. Neither are we very far from Beersheba, 2 names which are very dear and will be remembered by all members of the Light Horse in the great struggle of 1914-18. From where I'm standing, I can see the blue waters of the Mediterranean sparkling. Away in the distance on the right, the Hebron Hills. And it's amazing to think that these fellows have just come back here after their victorious conflict in Egypt and are now standing on the ground where their fathers fought in a memorial parade to fallen comrades of another day. Among the khaki is quite a lot of blue. In fact, right underneath me, there's quite a lot of blue fellows who have also come out of the desert and also out of hospital. They've been brought here today with the nurses and VADs to see their comrades on parade. Just a little further away is a very small contingent of potential officers with an officers' training corps. There's also quite a lot of RAAF blue about the place. I haven't seen any planes at the moment, but I have no doubt that we will see some before the day is up. Now, the general is right down, halfway down on the left of the column, preparatory to coming along and reviewing the troops. After this review, he will give the address, which we hope to record and give to you later. Then will be conducted the memorial service to fallen comrades, and following this, a magnificent march past with massed bands of the whole of the 20,000 men on this parade ground. You know, I don't know if I mentioned it before in my excitement, but these fellows in front of me are the ones that Lord Hawthorne called the rats of Tobruk. They don't look very much like rats today. They just look magnificent. There's not a move in the whole of the ranks. 20,000 of them. Just think of it, all on one parade ground. It's a long time since I've had anything to talk about like this or to see. Now, I'd just like to tell you something about a few of the people who are here. There's Lieutenant General Andrews of the United States Forces, and Mrs. R.G. Casey, well known to you all. General Freiberg, B.C., the GOC, New Zealand Forces. Major General McConnell, GOC, Palestinian Forces. Alec Kirk, Esquire. Lord Maine, Deputy Minister of State. Major General Sir E.L. Spears. Air Chief Marshal and Lady Tedder, Major General Maxwell of the United States Forces, and the popular Mr. Jim Payne, Australian Trades Commissioner. Lieutenant General Lindsell, Lieutenant Colonel MacDonald, well known for his efforts with the Australian Comforts Fund and now Chief Commissioner in the Middle East. Hammersley Bay, the Governor of Sinai, and Captain Poland of HMS Jarvis. And that gives another touch to the very representative gathering here today. Then Lieutenant Colonel Bobrowski of the Polish Army and Lieutenant General McCreary.
And you are in the proud position of having taken a major part in that great victory. Your reputation as fighters has always been famous, but I do not believe that you have ever fought with greater bravery or distinction than you did during that battle when you broke the German and Italian armies in the Western Desert. Now you have added fresh laurels to your already illustrious name. Your losses have been heavy indeed, and for that we are all distressed. But war is a hard and a bloody affair, and great victories, alas, cannot be won without much sacrifice. It is always a fine and a moving spectacle to see, as I do today, worthy men who have done their duty on the battlefield assembled in their ranks on parade, and those ranks filled again with young recruits and fresh reinforcements who have come to take the place of your fallen comrades. To these future warriors, I extend a warm welcome and greet them as brothers in arms who have come to join the forces of the Middle East, which it is my honor to command. And now, what of the future? There is no doubt that the fortunes of war have turned in our favor. We now have the initiative, and we can strike when and where we will. It is we who will choose the future battlegrounds, and we will choose them where we can hit the enemy hardest and where it will hurt him most. But there is a hard and bitter struggle ahead of us before we come to final victory, and there is much hard fighting to be done. In the flux and change of war, individuals will change, some will come, others will go. Formations will move from one theater to another. And where you will be when the next battles are fought, I do not know. But wherever you may be, my thoughts will always go with you, and I shall follow your fortunes with interest and your successes with admiration. But there is one thought which I shall cherish above all others, and it is this. Under my command fought the 9th Australian Division.
Once again, the division is coming to attention in the same order as you've heard them twice before on the occasion of this magnificent parade. At the conclusion, the whole division will form and march past General Alexander. This march past, of course, will take some considerable time. I wouldn't like to estimate how long, but we will at least give you a description of the first part of it as the leading units come past General Alexander. Once again, the words of command are being given. You may have heard them. And once again, every man in the 9th Division came to attention at the one moment. The first order, the division will slope arms, has just been given. You may again hear that passing through the ranks, and as one man, every rifle, you may have heard the murmurs of admiration round me. Every rifle went on every shoulder at the same moment. Hands clicked on the butts. Bayonets glinted in the glorious sunshine. And now, once again, the 9th Division are presenting arms. What a magnificent and inspiring sight we've just seen. I think the most thrilling thing I've ever seen in my life. You may have heard the first order, the division will present arms. On the drop of a red flag, 20,000 men presented arms as one. They paused for a few moments while the general salute was given. Following that, the order was given, the division will slope arms, and again as one man, those rifles came down onto the shoulders. And finally, the whole of the division came to attention. Now General Alexander is standing right in the center. The cameras are clicking all around the place. The car is just driving in, and he will step into the car and drive completely round this division. They're just a few of the people who are here. And now I can hardly see the General's car in the distance. It's the best part of half a mile from where I'm standing now, and I think this particular part of the ceremony will take some time, so that we will stop this recording until the General decides to speak.
I think I get my address now, don't I? My address now, is it? Officers, warrant officers, non-commissioned officers, and men of the Australian Imperial Forces. These great days we are living in are a time for deeds rather than words. But when great deeds have been done, then there is no harm in speaking of them. And great deeds have been done. The Battle of L Alamein will make history.
The 9th Division have just begun the magnificent march past in close order. The first unit in the march past, the 9th Divisional Cavalry, are just approaching the saluting base. The massed bands are gathered, about 200 musicians, 100 yards or so in front of the saluting base, and will be playing any minute now as the first units come along to General Alexander, who of course is taking the salute. Men have halted now. The 1st Brigade to come into line have halted about 100 yards from the saluting base. Now the bands are striking up. From where I can see, from where I'm standing, I can just see one solid mass of men, about 100 yards wide. They have drawn up preparatory to coming toward the saluting point. I'm sorry I said, because actually they were marching when I spoke, but they've halted. They have halted and should be moving on any second now. The remainder of the division are standing at ease and waiting for this brigade to come past. The senior officers of the brigade are drawn up in front of the 1st Battalion. It's rather difficult for me to see now because unfortunately quite a number of people have crowded round the platform on which I'm standing. I promised you some planes earlier. Well, the first one is overhead at the moment, but we've not had the number I expected on the parade. Still no move from the members of this brigade. The general officers are on the saluting base waiting for them to move off. They're awaiting a signal from someone, I don't quite know. And following the first unit, the Div come the artillery, then the engineers, headquarters, 9th Division, and so on, right through the battalions of the division. Still no move on the part of that brigade to march past. It's taken an enormous amount of getting these men here today. At 7 o'clock this morning, they were on the move, and the parade actually started at 11:45. So you can imagine the organization there has been behind this to get this vast body of men on the ground. Actually gathered here at the moment, apart from the 9th Division, are another 10,000 members of the AIF, making something like 30,000 in all, plus the nurses, VADs, and other subsidiary members, going to make up the Australian Imperial Force. They have just started to march again. And as I'm almost running out of adjectives, I can only say it's magnificent. Here goes the band. Most unusual sight to see the Div Cav with rifles, but they've all got rifles today, and as usual the bayonets are glinting in the sun. They look particularly smart with the black berets. Now they're coming very close to the saluting base.